Hey guys, I'm Mike and I make stuff. And once again, I'm sorting drill bits. I figured I'd put up a follow-up video talking about why I figure it's a crucial topic. Something that I mentioned in my first video, intentional obsolescence. I figured I'd take a minute and help explore what intentional obsolescence is, why it matters, the history behind it, why is it even a thing, and its impact on us and the environment, and why I feel that what I'm doing right now, or what I intend to do, is so important. So what is intentional obsolescence? At the end of the day, it's a business strategy where companies design products to have a limited lifespan. And that can be done in a variety of ways. You can do it through inferior materials that you build something out of, technology that is going to be obsolete soon, or by software that is rendered out of date at a particular point. Now, unless you're a cynical person like me, you may be thinking to yourself, why would somebody do that? Why would a company even consider that to be a good idea? One of the big ones, I guess, is probably how you're watching me right now. You ever notice how the battery on your smartphone gets weaker and weaker as time goes on? That's not just normal wear and tear. Okay? That's because that battery is designed to degrade faster than it normally would. Simply put, they design it that way with the intent of forcing you to have to buy another one later. Now, don't think for a second that this is some kind of new thing or it's, something that's happened even in the last 30 or 40 years. This has been around for a long time. I think it started since way back in the 1920s. As I understand it, companies like General Electric and Philips, they were making light bulbs because electricity was beginning to be piped into everybody's homes. And I don't know if you're familiar, but I think there's a firehouse back in the Northeast where a light bulb's been burning steadily for well over 100 years. They used to be built amazingly. But all of these companies got together and they decided that they were going to build light bulbs with a limited lifespan so that consumers would have to go buy another one, basically keeping themselves from working themselves right out of the job. Now, once it got to the 50s and the 60s, companies like IBM and Apple, they decided to start building things with proprietary parts instead of universally available things that were off the shelf. Now, that had two effects. Number one, it increased profits, but it also started to build this culture of disposability where you just threw something away if it didn't work anymore. They basically looked at the entire consumer market and said, you know what? It's not even worth trying to fix it anyway. You might as well just throw it away and get another one. That concept really didn't catch on to a lot of industries until 1932. Bernard London wrote a paper about how planned intentional obsolescence would end the Great Depression. He argued that if products had a limited lifespan, it would create an indefinite recurring consumer base that would return and continue to buy things, which would stimulate economic growth and unemployment. Which, don't get me wrong, was a very, very great idea in theory. I mean, the guy had, I'm sure, best intentions, right? But that eventually led us to where we are now. So what's the impact of intentional obsolescence and why does it hurt us so much? Well, first off, it generates increased waste. It puts a lot more things into landfills. It causes waste management problems. Not to mention that there's higher costs, so now the consumers, they have to go buy something and then replace it. It's expensive. It's wasteful. And the one that bothers me the most is the loss of skills. As products become more complex and they became more proprietary, people lost their ability to maintain and repair the products that they had purchased, which got rid of essentially a lot of independence and a lot of the DIY that used to be very prevalent in this country. So yes, there's a contingent of people that could say, oh yeah, this is really bad for the environment, but it doesn't affect us just that way. It affects our wallets and it affects our self-sufficiency. By designing these products to fail, the designers, the engineers, and the companies are basically telling us that we're not capable of repairing or maintaining them ourselves. And I'm sure some of you have felt this multiple times in the past. This leads to a sense of powerlessness and a sense of dependence on some company to continue to sustain what you're used to. And I think that intentional obsolescence stems so far and so prevalently that most people don't realize it. For example, the ink in your printer, part of that has to do with, well, of course, we use black more than we use any other in a conventional paper printer. But each of those different colors are designed to degrade at different rates, so that when one of them runs out or one of them dries up, guess what? You got to buy a whole new pack. Another example, as weird as it sounds, is the fashion industry. Clothing companies will design clothing so that they go out of style very quickly, forcing each of us to have to go buy new clothes at the end of every season if we want to remain stylish. I personally don't care. I mean, I'm a shirt and blue jeans, ball cap kind of guy. Doesn't bother me. But that also not only gave clothing the stigma of being disposable, but again, just as these other products, it made it so that it wasn't worth trying to learn how to repair them, try to fix a hem or make any tailoring adjustments. So before we even start getting into any projects, what can we do? What can we do to combat intentional obsolescence? We've got a few strategies we can employ. First off, consider secondhand. Buy something that's been used or refurbished. There's no need to go buy something brand spanking new as the default option. The step I would like to try to help you guys with, learn how to repair and maintain items. Learn how to repair and maintain items, as well as support companies that put out repair-friendly products. And thirdly, support companies that put a focus on sustainability and durability when they make something. Pick the products that are made to last, not the one that's just cool right now. I think that by making these conscious choices, we can save money, reduce waste, and promote a more skillful, DIY-centered culture than what we've absorbed ourselves into in the last 50 years. So that's it for my video. I know it's a little bit silly for me to sit here and talk the whole time. Stop. Sort of. I'm never going to get these sorted. But I hope you learned something. I hope it was interesting. I sincerely hope that as we continue to move through this together, the first thing that we keep in mind is promoting that culture of making informed choices and taking control of our consumption habits. That's going to be a game changer. In the coming weeks, I got some more videos coming. We'll start talking about what we can do in order to take actual action and start saving some money and start getting a little bit of pride in ourselves from making something amazing. It's time for us to make our future, guys. Thanks for watching. Take care.